Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. May I have your attention? It's 3 o'clock, and we certainly want to be respectful of your time and appreciate you coming out to be a part of this meeting with our landlords here in our community to address some of the issues that we have here. I'm Lisa Goodwin. I'm the Deputy City Manager, and I certainly want to recognize City Manager Hughley for being here. Thank you. And City Councilor Charmaine Crabb, thank you for being here as well. You, I'm sure, have been hearing a lot about this meeting, and you perhaps have also, you saw the presentation that was done at City Council on Tuesday, and we're going to go over basically the same presentation, but this is something that we all have been dealing with in this community. Each of you and your tenants and your neighbors and all of us in this community. I was born and raised right here in Columbus, and I've never seen it as dirty as it is now. And it's not just from what you have been hearing over the last year regarding us, the city, being behind in bulk waste or yard waste. It goes a lot deeper than that. Just the litter on the street, just litter, or from debris and from evictions where it has just blown all over. And we're going to show you some things, and you may recognize some of these properties. But we certainly are appreciative of you being here and being a part of this. And we wanted to be able to just come sit with you, have some dialogue to provide some options to you, and then give you an opportunity to come back if you would like, to bring us options that you would like to see. And again, it's dialogue. We all want the same thing. We want to keep Columbus beautiful. That's the end of the day. We want a nice place to call home, and you can help us with that. You can help us with that. And so with that, I will just start. And of course, at the we have a mic in the middle here that as we conclude the presentation, you will have an opportunity to come to the mic and just tell us who you are and then ask your question. And again, we're just going to have that dialogue. This is recorded. It will be shown again. And again, I do appreciate you being here and being a part of this process. And so as I begin, and you, of course, recall that council approved some emergency waste pickup services. And they did that because it really got to a critical point in the way our community was looking. Nobody liked the way Columbus was looking, and certainly our council said enough was enough, and the city manager brought these recommendations to them, and they approved it, where back in May, we approved with AmWaste 5 trucks with a 3-man crew, and it cost us $1.7 million for the year for them to provide that service. Well, things didn't get better, and so back again in July, he came forward and said, look, let's put on another 5 trucks with a 3-man crew at that same cost of $1.7 million. We did that. Again, things continued. It just wasn't getting cleaned up quick enough for us. And so the city manager said, look, let's go out and see if we can get people in the community with trucks that would like to make some money to help us out in this effort. And that's what we did, where we hired 12 contractors, 12 city, people in the community with trucks, and bulky waste vendors. And to date, we've paid them over $140,000 for their services. We understand that this was an aggressive move, but we knew that it was one that we had to do, in order to get a handle on the issues that we were having in the community. And let me tell you why we did that. You've been hearing, not just in Columbus, but everywhere throughout the nation, every industry throughout the nation, they have a shortage of people. You have shortages in your respective businesses of people. You just can't hire folk. Well, COVID hit us hard as well. in our sanitation division itself, it takes 51 people to provide the services to you, for us to come and do household pickup, your recycling, yard waste, bulky waste pickup. We come by your house 4 times a week, 4 times, and we need 51 people for all of those services. Well, to date, we only have 35, and just for household alone, it takes 27. Just for your household pickup, that is mandated. We cannot get behind in household waste. We just can't, period. Now, because we need 27, we only have 35. Recycling, we need 10. So I'm already in the hole just for those mandated services. So what we have to do and what we have done, and the reason we've gotten behind like we have, is because now that yard waste where we need 4, bulky waste where we need 10, that's 14. If we get more, we get some that come in who hadn't had COVID, not on vacation, not sick, well, now we have to pull from those to supplant for household waste and for yard waste. Again, we can't be behind in those things like we have been in yard waste or bulky waste. And so now that means we don't have anybody to do yard waste. We have nobody to pick up the mattresses or the couches. And so that's how we've gotten behind all this time, because we just have not had the staff. Just like you or other businesses have not had the staff to do what they want to or need to do. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why the city invested so much into the Amwaste and these other 12 contractors to pick up bulky waste and yard waste. And so that's the reason we're here today, because we need your help. We absolutely need your help to get us through all of this. Now, when we look at eviction aftermath, it just creates a nasty city, period. It just creates a nasty city. So this is what you see out there, coupled with the mattresses and the couches and the yard waste piles that are out there and the litter on the streets. This is what we see every day. Now, again, some of you may recognize some of these properties. They may very well be some of your properties. This is what neighbors have to live with. This is what they have to live by each and every day. It just sits out there. And many of the landlords are waiting for the city to come and pick it up, which means you want us to now pull our resources from yard waste or bulky waste, household waste, recycling waste, those mandated services that we have to provide to you. Now we are, in essence, supplanting and taking care of a private business. That's really what that is. This is more. This is it here in Columbus. This is what it looks like. This is in Columbus. Material sitting for days. It definitely creates a dirty city. A dirty city, one that nobody wants to live by. I don't. I know that you don't, but we do. Before and after pictures. This is where our inspections and codes have gone through and cited, for solid waste, and had to go back and had them clean up. This is what it looks like. Now, what we have in terms of our eviction stats, over 9,400 writs were received into the office of our municipal court clerk. The writs that were received, over 9,400 from 2014 up through August 30th of this year. That's how many walked in the doors wanting to do an eviction. Now, the number that were actually processed and actually became that eviction that the sheriff office went out and processed was just over 4,100 between 2014 and August 30th of this year. September alone, we had 122 evictions. In August, we had 57, and July, we had 56. Now, of that 122 evictions in September, Public Works is about 2 weeks behind in getting it taken care of. So what does that mean? Stuff is just sitting there. Neighbors have to look at that stuff day in and day out. These are your properties. That's just sitting out there continuously providing a bad or an eyesore for our community. The current process that we use, as you know, for doing the evictions is the sheriff's office will provide our public works department with a list of evictions every day, that this is what we need to get out. Now, public works supervisor goes out, looks at that site to determine the resources that they need, number of trucks, personnel, to take care of that. And then they schedule it to determine when we can get to it based on what they already have on their plates with a shortage of staff. It can typically take up to 7 days for them to go and remove the debris, again, scattered all over the yard. And the expectation of the neighbors is that the city should go in and hand pick up everything. Don't want to see any paper left on your property. That's the expectation. And you sit back and really, after it's cleaned up, now you're able to go in and rent your property again because the city has come in and cleaned it up for you. Something we've got to work on. And these are some of the options that we have in mind. Again, these are new recommendations. There are 3 options that we want to talk with you about. And with the new process that we want to talk with you about, on the day of the eviction, and of course the tenant and the landlord knows when that's going to be, so they have time to make preparation for getting things cleaned up in advance. But on the day of the eviction, the tenant will have the opportunity the day of to remove their property, to get their property cleaned up. The tenant will have that opportunity. If the tenant fails to take care of it the day of the eviction, then the landlord, you will have an opportunity within 24 hours to go in and clean and clear your property so that your neighbors, family, loved ones, the community don't have to sit and look at it. You have 24 hours. And that's what we're looking at. Now, option 1, the landlord will pay an additional flat fee to the city when executing the writ of eviction that will be used by the city to clean and to clear the eviction debris from your property if your tenant fails to clean it. Now, you have 24 hours. That's option 1. So you can go in there and take care of it, and it's done. We're through, everybody's happy. Option 2 is that the city on option 2 will pay one of the 12 bulk waste vendors that we currently have, that we contracted with. We will pay them $500 on the 25th hour. Because we'll have somebody to go out there after that 24 hours is up. And if that debris is still out there and has not been picked up, we will right then and there contract with that vendor and have them to go out, clean up that property. We're going to go in and pay them $500 to clean that up. We're going to send you an invoice to pay within 10 days. And if you do not pay that invoice, then it's subject to enforcement action for violation of a city ordinance, and a lien can be placed on your property. And we're cleaning up that ordinance right now for that purpose, to put that lien on the property of $500 if it's not cleaned, picked up. That's our preferred option. That's the city's preferred option. But there's a third option. And the third option would give you, the landlords, an opportunity to come up with a solution that will be acceptable to the city in lieu of the city's preferred option. So that's really an easy one. I know that, the mayor has met with many of the landlords some time back and talked to those that he met with about that option, but we have not heard anything. And so we still yet give you that opportunity. If option 1 isn't feasible or acceptable to the landlords, if option 2 is not, then we give you the opportunity to come up with something better that would give us the same result that we're all looking for, which is to clean and to clear eviction sites immediately. Not 2 or 3 days later, not a week later, but immediately. So I or you don't have to live, look, and smell all of what's out there. Okay? So those are options. Again, I summarize those options for you. Again, option 1 gives that landlord an option to pay the additional flat fee of $500 to the city when executing the writ of eviction. That will be used to clean and clear the eviction debris, if not clean, in the event it is not cleaned and cleared by the tenant within 24 hours. Option 2, the city will pay the bulk waste vendor $500 to clean up after the 25th hour and will invoice the landlord for payment to be paid within 10 days of receipt of invoice. And if not paid, landlord will be subject to enforcement action for violation of a city ordinance and be subject to a lien placed on their property. Again, that is the city's preferred option. And option 3 is the landlords have 30 days to come up with a solution that will be acceptable to the city in lieu of the preferred option. Final note, again, just want to make it real clear, real plain. Landlord and tenant has the 24 hours to clear and clean. Once the vendor arrives on site, and after we know that the 25th hour, nothing has been done, and that vendor arrives on site, and then you come saying, my crew is here, we're ready, everything ceases at that point. You cannot clean it up at that time because we're paying that vendor and have already executed the contract with that vendor to clean and to clear. And we are going to make sure that on that 25th hour, that the vendor that we have selected is on, if that first one that we've called is not, we're going to go down the list until we get one that's able to come out there right then and there to clean it up. I mean, we're just that serious about it. We're serious about picking up this litter that blows throughout our community. Enough is enough. I think the urgency is now. Right now, we've got to do something. And so that's what the vendor will clean, clear, and haul the debris to the landfill. This is a list of the certified vendors that we have, that we've contracted with already. And they are ready and willing to carry and to take this on. Okay? So that concludes the presentation. I will now open it up to those, if you will just get in line and, yes, let's make sure that mic is on.
I guess I may as well go first and get it over with. I discontinued my service with the city. Is it on? Y'all tell me, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Okay. In my case, several years ago, I gave up on the city garbage.
If you can identify yourself.
My name is Jackson Turner with Diverse Investments.
Okay.
I gave up using the city trash service years ago because it was so inadequate. I use dumpsters where I am, and just for the record, years later, after having been through lawyers, I'm still receiving bills on water for a service that I do not use. I've sent emails galore. You know what? Y'all have got a problem with organization, okay? And that's the big issue. But considering that I use private trash pickup, I use dumpsters, I don't want y'all coming out there and messing with my evictions. I'll take care of them. I do the big hauling of the yard waste twice per month, but I don't run it every single day. but I use a private service. I don't use the city service, so I don't need y'all out there doing that, okay?
Okay, Mr. Turner, thank you for that. Let me just, I know you have a whole list of it. I just want, you mentioned water services, that you're continuously getting bills for water services.
I mean, I'm getting bills for trash service on water bills at addresses that I have not had trash service for years.
You may want to go ahead and make sure that you are working with the Columbus Water Works on that.
Tried it.
That's who you're
Tried
going to have
it.
the contact with that.
Tried it. The
Yes,
emails
all
are
right.
there with everybody here. I've tried it,
Okay.
tried it. Y'all can't get it together. I'm actually being billed for a service for years that I'm not even used.
Okay.
And you refuse to do anything about it. So that's the
Okay.
first thing up, okay?
The next thing that you
All right.
mentioned, of course, that you have private service and you don't want to,
I don't
you
want
don't
y'all-
want us to do anything on your evictions. If we put if our folks, sheriff's office come out there and evict and put something out there and it's not taken care of on the 25th hour, whether you have the private service or not, if it's not handled on the 25th hour, we will contract that service.
All right, well, I want to point out to you right now, since you brought that up, that which is set on the city property is never at any time the property of the landlord, okay? It is the tenant's property. It's set onto the government's property. It's not set on our properties. We're bound by law, by OCGA, to remove the tenant's property, which is not our property, and set onto the government's property, which is not our property. We are forced to do this. At no time is this ever our property. I don't think that your ordinance is going to pass muster legally, because at no point in time is it ever our responsibility or property. We're doing as the OCGA says. Okay, that's just part of it, okay? I've got about 50 things here.
You have what now?
I have a whole list of things, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna need you to come back to the mic, because we gotta hear from everybody, okay?
All right, I got a whole bunch. I'll be back.
Okay, sure.
Hey, good afternoon.
And, just a second, is the city attorney's office here? No. Not here? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Fred Green, and I'm with Bickerstaff Farm Real Estate. First of all, I want you to know that I understand where y'all are coming from. Nobody likes the blight. I agree with you. I see both sides of this coin. However, I don't think these are good options. And please correct me if I misunderstood, but what I heard you say is that on the day of eviction, the tenant has until the end of the day to remove their stuff?
That's right, they have
Okay.
the day of the eviction.
The day of the eviction. But on the 25th hour from the eviction, you're going to come out and cite us or the owner or whoever, correct?
On the 25th, we're.
25th hour.
We're going to have
Okay.
companies come out and clean it up.
So bear with me.
If
If
the landlord has not done something.
if I walk through this, if the eviction is at 9 a.m. and the tenant has the whole day to remove their belongings, the rest of the day, technically the rest of the day is until midnight, correct? And then on the 25th hour, which is going to be 10 a.m. the next morning, y'all are going to come in and write us a ticket or charge us. So, number one, we're not going to know to the next morning at 9 or 10 o'clock if the tenant removed their stuff. And we're expected to arrange for someone to come move it within an hour?
Well, if I may. So I don't know which option we will bring forward, but hopefully, I want to be clear that we want you to come with an option. You can take option 1 or option 2 and tweak it. And what you're describing, if 9 a.m. and 9, then fix it. Get with
Well, I mean,
and fix it
I
and
wasn't
bring.
involved in this.
Look,
I came to two
well,
meetings about this eviction thing,
well,
and there were no options brought up,
Okay,
so these
well,
are new.
and so what we are giving you an opportunity to do is look at option 1, look at option 2, tweak them and fix it to something you think can make it clearer to us that we can accept and we can agree on, or say, I don't like option 1, option 2, here's the right option.
Okay.
But it has to fix the problem.
Right.
Your option.
I understand
so,
that.
So we are, you can, and I understand your question about 9 a.m. to fix it. I don't know, you may want to form a committee of 3, 5, 8 of you, but you need to fix number one to your satisfaction, or fix number two to your satisfaction, or say, I don't like either one, and here's the option we're going to bring forward, and it's going to fix the problem.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for from you.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I assure you, you will get it. But I was just listening to what I was hearing, and that's what I heard.
This is the starting point.
Okay. Well,
This is
and
just,
I'm grateful for
we've
that.
got to give you something to start with.
Okay.
And now you got a chance to fix it for us.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll do everything I can to help you fix this problem. I assure you.
Because, you know, I wish you could be on the other end of what you saw in those photos. I mean, when they call the city councilors. I've got one right now. I can pull the text up and the pictures, and the council member called me last night. I don't know who lives on Natchez Drive. It's someone here from, I mean, you know whether you got a property on Natchez. I got photos. They called me last night because they thought it was going to be cleaned up last week, and it's not. So, you know, council members are getting it. They're here, and we're getting it, and all we're asking is we're going to fix it if you won't fix it or can't fix it for us. But we don't want our option. I mean, we got a preferred option, but we want to be partners with you. We want you to agree to option one, option two, tweak it, that we can agree, or come up with your own option, and we all agree, and then we have a better city. That's what we're looking for.
Well, I appreciate that. Can I speak now?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I think the other option here is, or other opinion here, is that I don't know where the $500 figure came from, but to me it's absurd.
Okay.
Now, if I have a whole house sit out, I would say $500 is reasonable. The majority of our sit outs are very minimal, and I can have them hauled away for $200.
Well, then you need to bring that. Do it.
But I feel like you're not hearing me. I'm gonna bring you options.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you how I feel. You ask how we feel.
Sure.
I'm telling you how I feel. Now, you can agree with me or not agree with me, and that's all okay. This is America. We can do that. And I will bring a proposal or an opinion on this.
Okay.
But I don't find any of these to be acceptable to me. And there are other pitfalls that, you know, you're talking about they call you at night. Guess what? I'm a property manager. They call me at night, too.
They who?
They call me on the week, neighbors, whoever.
Oh, do they?
They call you all
Okay.
hours of the night and day.
Okay.
Doesn't matter,
Sure.
from different countries all over the world.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're talking about. I'm calling your council people and you. They call us too. We don't want, there's a pitfall here that you're not seeing. If
Really?
you're going to fine or charge are you going to charge the property manager, or are you going to charge the homeowner, the property owner?
Well, here's the thing, and let me just say, of course, when someone brings their truck and a trailer, and it's going to take 2-3 hours, or however long it takes to clean, I can't set their rate for them. Now, and I understand you say $200. There's certain things that I can go around and get some day laborers, and they'll come do it for, but if I call a company, like these license companies, they're going to charge you a rate. I mean, I can't set their rate.
I understand.
And so I don't know if you need to, on your deposits, get enough money to cover if they end up in eviction, their deposit. I don't know what you need to do. I can't tell you what you need to do. I'm not in that business. But we're looking to you to come with and agree to option one, or agree to option two, or have your option that we can all agree to. So we're here to ask you to help. Let's fix the problem.
Okay. May I speak?
Sure.
Okay. Going back to my question, which didn't get answered,
Okay.
who is going to be charged? You're talking about putting a lien?
What?
I mean, are you going to bill the property
Well,
manager, or
well,
are you going to bill the homeowner, the landowner?
Our preferred option that she showed you is these 12 vendors, when they come out to your property and clean up after you evict, we are willing to pay them out of city coffers, the taxpayer dollars, $500. And when we pay them that $500, you owe us, the taxpayers, and we're coming to get the money.
Okay, you're still not answering my question, and maybe I'm not being clear.
I'm saying
We are property managers.
property
We are
owner.
not property owners. So I'm trying to distinguish, are you gonna?
Who came to
Are you
get the
gonna build the
eviction?
property owner, or are you gonna build the property manager?
Well, whoever comes down to get the eviction, that's who I want the $500 from.
Oh, so you want it from the property manager, not the property owner?
All you gotta do is fix the problem. Help us fix it.
I'm gonna try my best.
Okay, so I want to get to everybody, so,
Okay, I'll stand down.
sure. I'm saying, we want you to help fix the problem. That's why we're here. And we're gonna have 30 days to get this done. We expect to have a resolution in 30 days from you on how we can work together to fix the problem. And if we don't get that in 30 days, then we are going to go back to council with our preferred option. Yes, sir.
Name's Mr. Moore. Just got a wind of this, what was happening today. I agree with him. A lot of stuff makes no sense. Mainly your time frame also. Most of these people are at the age where they're not going to be able to pick all this stuff up in a day or whatever and get it loaded onto their truck. Most people are do-it-yourselfers. They need more time. It seems like
Okay.
you want to punish anybody besides the taxpayers and the homeowners. You need to punish the people that caused this, the people that moved out and left that mess there. You need to hold those people accountable first. You're encouraging people to do bad things.
No, yeah, well, and see, I don't know how, I get it, but you know what? And I get the hand claps, but I can fill this room, I can fill the Civic Center auditorium up with people who will oppose leaving this situation the way it is. I mean, I can invite them to a meeting and say, tell us how you feel, and they're gonna outnumber you. We just want to fix the problem.
Yes, but you want to fix the problem at our expense.
we
Let
gave
me
you 2
talk, please. The thing is, you got all this mess. It's caused by the people that aren't paying their rent. They probably haven't paid in a long time. Why aren't you holding these people responsible?
Well, but do you do?
Or at least give
do
us
you
the
do
ability
credit
to
checks
sue.
and background checks and get deposits before you rent to the people?
Deposits is nothing these days.
Pardon?
Deposits are nothing. You want $500, they're going to leave $15 worth of
Again,
damage.
I know that we're not going to fix the problem here today. We gave you what our options are, and we're asking you, and if you need, we can do 30 days. If you think that, and you go to work and you can't get it done in 30 and you need an extra 15 days, we just want to fix the problem.
Well, what about this 10 days, and then you're going to attach our properties with
If,
that? We need
no,
more
no,
time.
no, once you agree and we agree that this is what we're going to take forward, then those are the rules we're going to play by.
Well, again, those rules punish somebody that's trying to buy a home and provide a home for somebody, what have you.
Okay.
What are you going to do as far as the people that are making this mess? Are you going to find them, give us the addresses so we can take them to small claims court?
I don't know who you, pardon?
Yes, but a lot of times they move away and we can't find them.
Well,
I
again-
do understand that. I do understand that, and that's one of the things about this. I'm going to answer Fred's question. I think 48 hours would be better, because then that gives them 40 hours. So we can work, we can tweak
I'm fine
on
with
that.
And so
Okay.
we, Counselor, we provided a starting point.
Right. But let me just answer some questions, okay?
Sure.
And just, so to your situation, that's what we do. That is our job as a property manager, is to enforce the contract. The tenants have left us without funds, with a mess on our hands. And we have to clean up that property in order to get it rented back out for the owner. So yes, us as property managers are stuck with that responsibility. It's part of our job. And then the other part of our job is to go after the tenant, the person who is ultimately
us the
responsible
power to do
for
that.
not. You have the power already.
If these people move, or we need enough time to clean up the mess. But we need a role where you can call the city and say, ask about Joe Schmo, can you tell me about him?
That's
Say
not
he
our
leaves as a mess.
responsibility.
Right.
As this, I'm putting on my counselor hat. That's not the city's responsibility. You can find these people, they've got credit agencies that, you hire and go after them and all this stuff, put liens on them, on their social security number. We can do that already. I've put liens on some of my past tenants, and it's taken 3 or 4 years for them to pay me back. But it's my responsibility as the property manager who's representing the property owner to go after those people. For my property owners, that's what they pay me for.
I'm just
Well,
saying,
and-
give
and-
us some
and let me
tools. You're just
let-
saying
let me-
it.
Let me
It's
just
so
say, because
easy.
we want to make sure we hear from
Yes, sir.
everybody in line. What we've provided you is an option 1 and an option 2 to consider. Now, you can form a group, a committee, or whatever you want to do, and you fix it. And if you come back with 48 hours, here's the thing. If you want 60 hours, I'll take it to council. And if they approve 60 hours, I don't want them calling me until 60 hours have expired. I wanted to sit out there. And so I'm just saying, when we say not 24 hours, 48 hours, or if we say 60 hours, they got 60 hours to have it look like that picture up there. If that's what if council members say that's okay, because I get the calls from city councilors, you know? And if that's okay with the city council, it's fine with me.
And in response to Mr. Jackson, he's using option 3. He's hired a private company to take care of his trash removal. In my mind, they should be taking care of the trash on your property. And I don't really buy the stuff about putting it on the city streets, but,
Well, well, I believe, and I've called for the lawyer, Pam, call the lawyer and have them okay, or get the lawyer on the phone, but I believe that it's to be evicted, and it's supposed to be, on your property, and not put the eviction, but I need the lawyer. My phone is. And so, sir, did you have a final
My
comment?
final thing is, we are rewarding people that aren't doing the right thing and putting it on other people. Granted, I got no problem paying the $500, but I'd like to be guaranteed that I know where that person is and I can get them, or I should be able to call the city and find out, did this person leave a mess at their last location, so I won't have them come and rent my home. Well, why don't you start that? That happens all over the country, people getting, having to clean up other people's messes. If I left $500 worth of damage on your property, that would aggravate you.
I would love for us as a group, because we all run into the same things. With Facebook and different things, why haven't we created a Facebook page that we can put, watch out for so-and-so, they just left me with this, and I've often wondered why we don't come together as a group and take care of that. Because we dump on the city, and it's not the city's responsibility.
Well, again, everybody goes to the city to get eviction,
Let me see.
so what have you, because people aren't paying their
So,
rents on time.
excuse me, we're getting out of control. We
Yeah.
gotta maintain control. And the lawyer says, executing officer may permit property to be placed on the landlord's property or such other property as the landlord designates and the executing officer approves. That's the law. tell the lawyer to come here. No, I want the lawyer.
Thank you for your time.
Because we're going to move on to the next person.
Hi, my name is Aretha Richards, and I manage an affordable apartment community for seniors. And my concern is there's a lot of misconception on y'all's side about what the state law is, and what the Sheriff's Department, previously Marshal's Department, would allow us to do. So I'm for option 3. Let's sit down, let's talk about it. Let's get the Sheriff's Department involved. Let's see what the state law requires, because we've all been taught in my 27 years, with 25 of it done here in Columbus, Georgia, that the resident cannot move the items out of the home. We have to move them out of the home. We have to place them on public land, and we have to do that with 4 or more people helping us to do so.
Okay.
Now, that is what the state mandate was to us from the Marshal's Department, Sheriff's Department. There's
Yeah.
deputies right here that should be able to answer that very
Well,
easily.
and I'm just wondering what the lawyer.
I understand what the lawyer's
Yeah.
saying, but I'm not trying to step on toes, but I do believe they're mistaken. So my question is this: when you're talking about affordable housing for seniors, we don't have the staff. I don't have the 4 bodies. I don't have the funds to be able, because I'm working off of a HUD budget. What do you expect us to do when the state law mandates that we have to place those items on public property?
Yeah.
And that the resident cannot remove them from the apartment? I'd be glad to have them pull up a U-Haul and move the items, makes it less for me. But state law will not allow that.
We will provide.
So we need to sit and talk about this with the adequate information of what the state law is.
Yeah, and we are going to have the lawyer to provide you clarity on the law.
I think I've got a lot of
And when
clarity
we go
on
to
it.
city council with an ordinance, it is going to be on legal review and what the lawyer says.
But that should have already been done before this was
Well,
taken place.
And while we're here today, just be clear, I'm going to keep repeating this. We are here because we're going to have option 1, option 2,
I understand
or
that.
the option that you agree to. So we don't need to really debate all of
Then
it.
why are we here? I thought you said
You-
you wanted to discuss it and debate it.
We do, but we
But you
can,
just said you didn't want to.
no, what I'm telling you, ma'am, and look,
No,
it's not funny.
It's not funny, but it's just frustrating for us
and so-
because of the fact
so
that
what
the
I'm
law's
telling
not
you
being followed.
Is that you have an opportunity to say you like 1, 2, tweak option 1, tweak option 2, or come
Okay.
up with an option that you
And I
can.
just suggested that we sit down with the legalities. The Sheriff's Department's right here. They should be giving their 2 cents.
Sure.
Because they know what the law
Sure.
is. They know what we're
and I
mandated
think-
to do.
I think what I would suggest is that you all form some committee of 5, 6, 8, 10, or 11 that you can agree to work on this and figure out what works best for you, and then you all agree, and then you can present that to the city,
Okay.
unless you're on it. Okay, well,
That's my decision. First of all, I want to thank you guys for inviting us here to be a part of the solution.
sure.
Before I can make additional comments, I need to get a clarification on one question. But before I ask for clarification on that, I want to say this. A couple of months ago, the city put out an RFP, a request for proposals, for individuals to pick up this waste. And y'all offered to pay $250 per ton.
Yeah,
$250 a ton is not a lot of money, but $500 for an eviction is a lot of money.
okay,
So let's work together on this. You know, right now, when we file an eviction, we have to file the eviction fee, we have to pay for a writ. When they come out to do the eviction, we have to have 4 people, at least 4 people on hand to conduct the eviction. They don't do that free.
yeah,
In the event of inclement weather, we have to provide tarps so that their stuff doesn't get
Yeah.
wet.
yeah,
and we cannot bother it for 24 hours. So for you to issue us a citation after the 25th hour doesn't give us a lot of, we have a legal situation with the tenant if we move their stuff within that 24 hours.
Yeah.
So 25 hours is not enough time for us to be
Okay.
able to react to their not doing that.
Okay,
So if the city was willing to do an RFP to individual businesses, then to pick up this waste, as landlords, we're not necessarily asking that you pay us for picking up our own waste, but we should be able to not have to then go to the landfill and pay to put the stuff in the landfill. You know, if we could say that landlords after 24 hours could get rid of their own refuse and then be able to take it to the landfill and dump it, then that solves y'all's problem, that solves our problem. I think that's somewhat fairer. But my question I was going to ask for more clarification is, what's the why do we pay a higher property tax for rental property than we do homestead property?
well, I want to talk about eviction.
No, because I'm saying when we pay that additional fee.
I'd be happy to
for
talk to
higher
you about
taxes
that
for
later.
rental property,
Yeah,
then.
it's not for that.
Well, you know, prior to COVID, we had a meeting, I think the sheriff and some others conducted a meeting where we were talking about this very same problem. This problem existed prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And I know that it was exacerbated by COVID because then you had less inmates to go out and do it.
So I'm not going to talk about property tax, but, so you're saying that it shouldn't be $500 like Mr. Green, it should be something less?
Or let us move it ourselves and dump it free. And then then it doesn't cost the city any money, and it costs us additional money, but not as much as what you're talking about, $500.
So we should lower the fee that we pay to the private contractor, and then,
I'm saying if you let us dump our own, you won't need the private contractors. You've got the sanitation department that picks up bulk waste and stuff all
So-
over.
so
That's
you-
a different
so you're
problem. That's
willing
not
to-
with us.
You're willing as a landlord or property owner to go ahead and haul it off, but you want us to just let you dump it free?
Absolutely. Because that's what it was before, when the city came and got it. Now you're just simply not having to send anybody over to get the
Okay.
stuff and take it out.
Well, there again, so.
I think that's an
you
equitable
want-
solution.
You want me to appoint the committee for you? I'm saying, we just need your proposal that we can all agree to.
I'm writing these ideas down so we can discuss it later. I'm writing
Well,
them down.
well, no.
Well, I'd like to know how many
so
landlords would be
you,
okay
the
with that solution?
landlord.
we could take it
I would
ourselves and not
love
have to
to
pay?
sit,
Well,
when the landlords form a committee to discuss this,
Yeah.
I would love to be a part
Okay,
of
great,
it.
great. So she wrote that down.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we just want the problem cleaned. We want a clean city.
And we do too.
Yeah.
We do too. We just don't want it to all be on our back.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the problem.
Gotcha, you have to get in line. Yeah. You're gonna have to get in line. Next, Nadine.
My name is Nadine, and I'm probably the person that called all y'all going live over dumping and stuff like that. I agree
Nadine,
with what he said. This 141,813 book fee that we have to pay in the city. Let all of them come together and pay the book fee, and then let them take the trash and dump it. And I agree with what he said. Don't let them charge them to dump in the landfill. But you got to figure out a way about it, because we don't want to go back to that same landfill fiasco we had a long time ago.
Yeah,
So
well-
let them be the one to be able to pay the boat people. In July of 2010, we came up with a solution, but something happened and it didn't go through.
Okay.
Whereas we was killing 2 or 3 birds with one stone, but the committee never formed because we had another thing. As a matter of fact, Evelyn Woodson brought it up. But we had to go through some things. But I agree, when you start charging, all of this would be passed on to the new renter. And remember, and this is exasperated after we went to 1 day a week trash pickup. Don't rush me. Because we had 2 day a week trash pickup, they would have picked the trash up. So that's what you do. Now, when y'all on the committee, I want to be on it because I represent the people who
Well-
are not here. And then
Yeah.
all this dumping still going on. So just let them pay $20 toward the book fee and just pick it up. Don't even let the sheriff come.
I think an organized committee and bring forward something. I mean, we want to listen to, we just want the problem fixed again, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're open to,
I agree
Whatever
with,
they-
I
you
agree
come up
with
with.
them, but we don't want the rent to go so high.
I
that-
agree.
that
Yeah, I
people can't
understand.
pay, so let them dump it and just let them pay the $143,000.
I got you.
Book fee.
Got you.
Hi, my name's Ricky Cummins, and I do a lot of evictions. And used to, with the marshals doing it, you didn't have an extra fee. Now with the sheriff's doing it, you do have an extra $25 fee that you don't pay at the time of the dispo or the writ, they mail it to you. So I do agree with what the guy said earlier. When they come out and do the eviction, the marshal, or the sheriff's already handed us this piece of paper saying the people can't come back on the property.
Yeah.
If we could take that piece of paper and take all that garbage to the dump,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I'm open to that.
Okay, that's good.
I'm
But my
open to
thing
that.
is, there's 24 hours, you know, why
I'm
after?
open to something different. I
Okay,
just
no,
need
no.
to hear from you.
I want to know is why they have 24 hours. When we got 4 guys there and we got trucks and trailers, when we're walking it out, why can't we throw it on our truck and trailer and we're through right
So
then?
you think they should be
Nothing.
real time? It should just be taken on to the dump?
Yeah, exactly. They should not have no more time because of the fact they've already not paid us. They've already gone and they know they've had a chance to get out.
Okay.
Hey,
All
it's
right.
time for us to put it out.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, and we clean it up right then. Then
Let's-
you never even see it.
You got me smiling.
Because you know what? You're going to have to hire more people just to enforce this 24, 48, 60. You got to hire
Well,
people
no,
to do that.
those are private contracts. That's why it's $500.
You're still paying, no, you're paying somebody to come out to make sure
Nope.
that contractor comes and gets it.
No, but we're paying, but we're coming to get our money.
Yeah, but you got to
We're
hire
coming-
somebody to
we're
do
coming-
it, and you
we're
got to hire a
coming-
person just to
somebody's
drive
go-
out there and see that it's there.
Yeah.
Let
But
us take it with us
I like-
right then.
I hope you're on the committee.
I am, I will be. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, tell them about tearing it up. When they have 24 hours and it sits on the street, everybody goes.
Yeah. I like his conversation. Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir.
So my name is Nicholas Bain. I own J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. I've been in the community now for 11 years.
Are you on our list?
I should be. I'm not.
Okay.
I have received checks. I did pick up bulk waste. I was a benefactor from the program, but I see my name was missing from the list.
Well, talk to that lady right there.
We'll get it situated. Not a big deal.
See how fast they work.
2 other things. I've done plenty of work with Fred and Councilwoman Crabb, both in the set-out process and the removal process. And Fred's right. Most of their evictions are small. 3, 4 bags of trash, a chair, maybe a couch. But Fred has had evictions that have been entire full houses. And to expect a private contractor to take $500 to get rid of
Well,
90, 100, 200 yards of debris,
and let me just.
I feel like the correct answer,
You think that would not be enough, is what you were saying?
I don't think that it's reasonable to assume that one flat rate will take care of an eviction.
Well, here's the thing, and I think part of the reason for the flat rate is sometimes they're gonna get $500 for doing what you said first, a couch and a dresser. And other times, they're gonna get the full load, and it balances out.
And
And
you
so-
say that,
Yeah,
but on that 24th hour or 47th hour or whatever it is, if a property manager sees that it's a couch and 2 bags of trash, they're gonna go pick it up.
then they don't get charged in that case.
Right. All that leaves is the entire housefulls of stuff.
Yeah, for J-Dog.
Right.
And
For
J-Dog won't
$500
like that.
that we would charge $2,000, $2,500 for.
Yeah, I got
That would
you.
take
I
us a
understand.
day and
I
a
follow
half.
that.
So I feel like if we're not gonna follow the gentleman's, if the landlord wants to take it himself and bring it to the landfill,
And I
that's
think-
fine. I feel like there should be, if there's going to be a charge associated with hiring a private contractor, it should be by volume.
I got you. And I think the committee will hear all of that, and I think you all are gonna bring back something, I really do, that we can accept. But we had to get you here and put something on there.
I've been here.
Pardon? Get your attention to let you know that we're serious about cleaning up. And I think we've gotten the attention.
Absolutely. So we're here if the need arises.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Tom Calhoun, Flanoy and Calhoun Realtors. I applaud the city for trying to be proactive. You know, as long as I can remember, when you execute a writ of eviction, you follow the guidelines of the sheriff or the marshal, what it used to be. You put the belongings on the right-of-way. Again, it's not the landlord's belongings. The landlords wish that the tenants would vacate fully, but obviously that doesn't happen. The landlords wait indefinitely for tenants to retrieve their belongings. Many times they don't. People go through the items and cause a mess. But my suggestion would be, we've already got laws on the books as far as special enforcement and unsanitary conditions. What would be wrong with special enforcement going by after a day, 2 days after the eviction, whenever, and seeing if these areas have become blight? And if they have, they can give the landlord or manager or both a quick mandate to clean it up, whether it's 24 hours or whatever. The $500, you know, one of the things landlords grapple with is being sued for, not being sued for unlawful eviction. So if they've checked the property out prior to an eviction, and let's say there's an old broken coffee table and a sofa, it's clear that the tenants have moved, but there are still just a few belongings. And in an effort not to be sued for wrongful eviction, they go ahead and wait and wait and wait for their eviction date, and that waiting is money. And then they do it properly through the sheriff's department to put a TV and a coffee table and a lampshade on the right-of-way, something that might cost $75 to get removed. And so, you know, we're concerned about the broad brush kind of approach, and I think special enforcement could cite landlords after the fact. And landlords, they clean it up anyway. Many times they will go and tidy it up and neatly put it there back for the city to pick up. The city doesn't pick it up, and then people go through it again, and there's another mess. So landlords aren't really the bad guys in this. They're going to end up paying for it. But, you know, if you take a $750 rental, a landlord that has to evict someone, they're going to be 2 months behind. They've lost $1,500 plus late fees. If you add another $500, that's $2,000. That's real money. And then damages to the property, et cetera, et cetera. So these costs will be passed on to the tenants as it's an operating expense, just like any other business.
Yeah.
And we've seen rents going up, and this would be another thing that would create some upward trajectory for rents, and the tenants are ended up penalized. So I think we need to be reasonable and try to clean up the city and come up with some suggestions, some ideas that aren't so punitive, because landlords aren't the bad guys.
And I want to be clear, we want to be reasonable, and that's why I want, when we go to city council with this, I want the tenant committee and tenants to be right there with us, and they know city council members won't even need to discuss it. It's, you know, we've worked together on it. That's the outcome I'd like to see. But we all want the same thing, as the deputy city manager said, and that's to have a clean city. And whatever you come with and we agree to, it has to be something that they are comfortable with, that they are not going to continue to hear from these constituents. I mean,
Can I ask a question? Tom, how do you handle your put-outs? I mean, when, you know, like, what's your standard operating procedure to them?
Well, we put the belongings on the right-of-way in accordance with how the sheriffs direct us to.
And then what if, they're not picked up right away. I mean, when, you know, we have been having issues with, you know, the bulk pickup. So I'm very curious what standard procedures other landlords have to take this bulk waste out of the area, because I know for me personally, I want it gone as soon as possible because I want to be able to show the property and I want it to look nice and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just curious what other people are doing to get that off of the property.
Well, the answer is lately with the bulk pickup problem, whoever we have service the lawn will haul everything off so that it's not a problem. And so the landlord really is already paying for it. So I guess that's the standard operating procedure. You can't remarket a home if there's trash strewed everywhere. So the landlords are doing it, they're paying for it. They may not be doing it fast enough in some cases, for those pictures that you have where there's stuff everywhere. We could find some pictures that, have a neat small pile. So it's a mixed bag. But I think we ought to be thoughtful about it and do it the right way. Special enforcement is there. I assume we still have special enforcement. And so that where there is a problem, they can identify it and say, this is a problem, we're giving you a mandate, we want it corrected within 24 hours or else. But when the landlord hadn't gotten 2 months' rent and he's paying for this, and then here's your $500, it's just, I don't think landlords, and I know that there's a problem.
I hear you, but I am just telling you, we get beat down. And I know, and it's not all landlords. It's not 50% of landlords. It's a small group that we're dealing with. We know who they are, but we got to fix the problem, and we got to fix it citywide. Citizens deserve better next door, and if they want to sell their home and they bring someone by, they can't sell that house. I mean, this is not, we didn't go back and just dig up old stuff.
Sure.
These are current photos, and I'm telling you, Council Crabb calls, Toya Tucker calls. I mean, we can go down the list of city councilors. We've gotten, the mayor gets calls, and he calls, and I called, one Friday he got a call, and I called Public Works, and where's, he said it would take 3 days to clean it up. And he asked, do you want me to divert the shortage of resources that we have right now and send them over there to clean this property up? So I got to make a decision. Do I take services away from other citizens and send them to clean up that property?
Yeah.
And he tells me, where's, like, it takes days, there's so much out there. That is not fair to the citizens.
Yeah.
And we got to fix the problem.
I think, like was stated earlier, the city's been struggling to get the resources to move bulk. Landlords are struggling to get people that will work and clean up messes. And so.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's the people who live in that community who are sick and tired, And some properties, they tell me it's repeated. How do you continue to allow someone to move in, and then you evict them, and then you allow someone else to move, and then they get evicted? Yeah. Or you have to ask the question. I know one landlord showed me his form, his application, and how he avoids having this problem. And I don't think we've had any issues with this landlord because of his system and deposits. He doesn't have that problem. So I don't know the answer, but you do, because you all do this. We just got to fix it for the citizens, that council members are not getting all these calls and the communities are not looking terrible. We just got to fix it.
Well, I appreciate the initiative. I hope we can work together, and I think we just need to have a good approach to it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Rick Flowers. I'm here because I'm an attorney and I wanted to find out what was going on because I'm sure I'm gonna have phone
Yeah.
calls. I hadn't planned on saying anything.
Yeah. Well,
But
and
the one thing that you said that got a lot of reaction was
Listen.
what was gonna happen with the lien.
Yeah.
And you made a statement that the lien would apply to the agents for the landlords. I'm an agent for a landlord. I just filed 22 dispossessories last week.
Yeah.
The document says the lien is on the property, and I just want to make sure, going forward, that that's the language, that if there is going to be a lien of some sort, it's only against the property, and not against anybody who's acting as an agent.
Well, and maybe, you know, I misspoke. I said whoever comes to get the eviction, I think, but our lawyer is here now, and I'll let her
That's why I
talk.
made that statement.
I'll have her do the legal work. I
Right.
just- yeah.
I just want to make sure that
So-
it's, that wording stays consistent, because otherwise it's going to be a major problem. That's all.
The lien would be defined in the ordinance that will be necessary for all of these changes to come about. And it would provide that the lien runs with the property, as with all other solid waste disposal liens.
Right, there just was an earlier
Sure.
statement inconsistent.
Yeah, that's what happens when city managers try to be lawyers, yeah. Yes, sir.
Bill Terman Realty Company. I'd like to know who decides what's eviction waste. You go and buy the records? Because I have tenants that leave in good standing, and they put trash out there in big piles. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
charged $500 because they left all this on the property.
Yeah, and typically what we do, we have inspections and codes, they have special enforcement officers. They have access to who got to evict. They know in advance. You heard in the chronology or whatever you said that the sheriff's are going to get with Public Works. We know who got evicted.
Okay, well, I will give you an example. Earlier this week, a household garbage truck stopped by one of our properties, and a prisoner stepped out and looked at it and said, "Oh, this is eviction debris, we're not going to pick that up." And so my foreman had to engage the driver and point out, "No, this is not eviction debris, this was abandoned." And so they
They
picked
did pick it up.
But
Yeah,
if-
and I'm sure that happens, but the sheriff's office, they will get with Public Works because we're trying to coordinate and we don't want it sitting out. So we know, they know every eviction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when does this 30-day clock start? Today?
Well, and we use 30 days, but it's kind of like when we are going to we want to see work in progress. And if we can't get it done in 30 days and it takes another 10 days or 15 days, we're good with that. But we've got to have some benchmarks to say that we got 30 days. I don't want to be here next year this time talking about this.
I agree. And to whom do we send these recommendations or solutions?
Well,
To you?
I hope that there's going to be a committee, but Deputy City Manager Goodwin is working with Mike Criddle, the Director of Public Works, and they are going to be the parties working with landlord, property owners during this time period to come up with an option that we can all agree to.
Thank you.
Sure. But we are going to have to see a committee formed and some activity going. Otherwise, we're going to assume that one of the options that we've shared is a preferred option, and we're going to move forward with it. Yes, sir.
Okay, if I can finish. So I deal in quadplexes. So I deal in quadplexes. So I sit out, I evict tenant A, move their stuff.
Before they leave, I don't know if you all know how to contact. Some are leaving, but we're really going to have to see some work go, and somebody's going to have to come up with something.
I would love to be able to finish my points.
Pardon?
May I please finish my points, or am I going to be cut off?
No, I said, excuse me, sir. I wanted to catch them as they were leaving.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see
You're
behind me,
going to
okay?
finish your point, yes.
All right, I was in the middle of speaking,
Yeah.
okay. So I evict tenant B, all right? I had their stuff hauled away. Tenant C decides to go ahead and put a couch out. They don't want that couch anymore the same day. How are you gonna identify, as somebody else said, what is with the eviction and what is not? Anybody can set trash out on the right of way to be picked up, all right? Are you gonna, is your vendor, now I'm gonna have to film, I'm gonna have to videotape my evictions, and I'm gonna expect that somebody's gonna try to find me that they videotape what they picked up so we can match the debris from the eviction to the debris from what they picked up, okay? If you can't prove that the debris which they have picked up came from the eviction, if you cannot provide proof, then you cannot find me, okay? You have picked up trash on the side of the road. Unless you can prove said trash is from said eviction, you can't find me. And that's a problem I see. I can see me getting fined because somebody set a couch out after I cleaned up the mess from another address, and I'm gonna get a fine for it, okay? That's a problem, because it's just gonna be like, listen, the people getting paid $500, they're gonna be wanting to pick up everything, okay? They're gonna see something sitting there, they're gonna go grab that couch, $500. They may have even grabbed it from the address next door.
Okay.
All right, that's a problem, okay? That's a big problem for me.
So you have notes on all of that paper?
Another thing, Columbus is a dirty city, okay? Ride around and look at the trash everywhere. It's not just the eviction debris that's dirty. Drive down the road, look around, okay?
And we get that, and this
Okay.
is, yeah.
Are you doing something similar for McDonald's and Burger King for all their stuff laying on the side of the road? I've got 1,000 other things. I'll just send you a big, long email.
Okay.
But this isn't gonna work
And
right
we
here.
do, I do want to see a group work together, and I do want the city attorney to address, when the sheriff goes out, and of course they do this sit-out, is that to be put on private property or public property? What does the law require?
The law provides that it can be placed on the landlord's property or on such other property as the landlord may request for the executing officer to designate. The
Okay.
word public right-of-way or city right-of-way is not mentioned in the state statute at all.
So is it, so if the sheriff is doing the eviction, the sheriff can say that they can put it on the right-of-way, are you saying?
That's right, and that's been the way the practice evolved over the years here.
And we want to make a request that the sheriff have them put it on their private property.
Correct.
Okay. That's the city manager's request, is that the sheriff, when they do evictions, do not put it on the city's public property because that property belongs to the citizens. Put it on private property. Put it on their property.
So it has to be within the easement.
I gotta listen, tell me.
No, what your request would be that it really go back to being as the state statute provides, which is that it's in a designated spot on the landlord's property.
Yes.
Or removed by the landlord as appropriate.
And to the point that someone made in the opening that it's on public property and it's, well, I'm asking the sheriff, based on the law, as city manager, put it on the private property. Do not put it on the right of way that the citizens, where the property the citizens own.
And once a solution is worked out, there will be a change in the city ordinance to make that clear.
Sure.
As some other cities around the state have done.
Sure.
Mr. City Manager,
Yes.
but if he can leave it on the landlord's property, then let the landlord be able to take it off of his property to the dumpster. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because people come and privilege through it.
Yeah.
And it gets everywhere. And a couch put out on Monday, which is our day.
Sure.
Couch day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sits there for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And so, because we not timely yet in the garbage pickup.
Yes.
Plus, we done went to the 1 day a week trash pickup. It's trash everywhere.
Yes.
And this is very passionate to me because I work with Lonnie Jackson, and we used to pick up the trash every weekend, and the
Right.
city done fell back into where we used to have a clean
That's
city,
right.
and we got to clean it back up.
That's right.
So it's just a matter of us all working together, and like you get phone calls, and I get them too, and they ain't elected for nothing. I don't run for nothing but the ice cream truck. But they call me telling me stuff, and I get out there and get to working on it. That's why I came, and I don't say it's all the landlord's fault.
Yeah.
It's our fault, too.
Right, yeah.
Okay, bye. I'm finna go now.
Hi, my name's Shannon Rowe. I'm with Terman Realty. I just had 2 points I'd like to add to this. If we leave the post-eviction debris on the landlord's private property, we have informed the tenant they will be trespassing if they come back on the property. That's the instructions that the sheriffs give to the tenants. They say, do not come back on this property. We will arrest you for trespassing. So if you leave their belongings there but give them access for the rest of the day per the law, now you're going to arrest them for trespassing because you've told them not to do that. Secondly, we've already had code call us about people illegally dumping at our properties. So, we didn't do the eviction. They dumped their debris at our house. We had to go remove it because it's our property. So if you make these kind of restrictions, I have concerns that you're going to cause people to dump on the side of the road, dump over at my house, and it's not really going to solve a problem. It's just going to get pushed around.
So are you saying that we should allow them to place it on public property?
I'm just telling you that the marshals tell the tenants or the sheriffs, do not come back on this property or you'll be considered
Yes.
trespassing. So I don't know the answer. I just want to make sure we're aware that if,
Well,
if we
but-
drove
but-
back
but-
by
but-
and they were in
but-
the yard, we could call the
So
sheriffs.
there again, I said what I said about have the sheriff put it on private property.
Mm-hmm.
But if this group can come up with the solution, and the solution is public property, I want to work.
Yeah,
we
I just want to make sure my
Yeah.
tenants who are already
Yeah.
having a hard time are also not going to get arrested on top of all the hardships
yeah,
they're having. So
My
that was my
goal is
concern.
that we all agree, but we've got a solution, and then we make it work.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's the outcome I want, so I think that we can come up with something that we can, go to council together and we're all in agreement. I really do. Go ahead, sir.
As far as the eviction goes, I was wondering, why do we, as a landlord, have to dump all that stuff out front? Why can't we just keep it in the house, get a rental truck or whatever it means, and slowly meter it out and take it to the dump, or place it maybe in the backyard and make sure city enforces it that people aren't being hoarders? But the whole thing is, you're forcing people to throw a mess out front of the house. Maybe that should end in this town.
Okay. City Attorney, did you have?
Well, Councilor Crabb had just asked me to explain a little bit about the 24-hour requirement.
Okay.
And basically, that has to do with the tenant knowing a time fixed when the set-out is going to occur. And if they have had 24 hours notice before that to get the property, then it is deemed abandoned and can be disposed of in any way.
Well, can the homeowner then put it in the backyard with a gate open?
Well,
Just to end the dumping of the trash in the front of the property?
well, if they've had the 24-hour notice, then it could be put in the backyard. It could be taken off in a container.
But I'm just saying it'd be easier to end this where it's got to be, if they're not allowed to come back on the property again, you've got to catch-22. Why can't the homeowner just wait when they got opportunity at their convenience, empty the house themselves into whatever vehicle and take it to the city and end this stuff of throwing it all out in front of the properties?
Well,
Because the people haven't paid rent for a long time. Stop punishing the homeowner and allow the the owners to figure out a way, such as put in the backyard or not be immediately required to dump it out. And they can, again, back a rental truck up to the house, load it up, and drive it to the dump. It stops the dumping of the stuff in the front of the house. We shouldn't give too many rights to people that aren't paying rent. Yeah, and it gives,
The problem starts with that what's in our mind is that 24-hour period that it's supposed to sit there and get rained on and get picked through and everything. If we didn't have to have that 24-hour period, don't you guys agree that probably 70% of this issue would
is
go away
gone.
just like that?
Yeah.
If not
And it gives it the
Well,
do-it-yourself.
and it sounds like you're on to something, you know?
I can research that further. I will say,
This has been mentioned about 2 or 3 times today, that if we can settle that issue, that we don't have to set it out in the, well, I think it's already settled that we don't have to set it out in front. If we can set it anywhere on the property, we could set it out in the back of the house. But
Well, it's in a container, though.
split on the front because it's easier to
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean,
the main thing, once you start talking about putting it in a container and removing it from the property, I think the key thing, and we'll double check as we develop the ordinance, but the key thing is that the tenant have had 24-hour notice of when the set out is going to occur.
I think that should end. That needs to end.
But I mean,
Okay, not all at the same time now.
what we heard in the past was there were some situations when they didn't know exactly when the
Yeah.
set out was going to happen. They didn't
Yeah.
know when they would get to the eviction.
Okay, excuse me, yeah, just a second. So, sir,
I think there's advantage to the city of ending that policy because it hurts homeowners and everybody else.
so let's have that on the list for discussion whenever you guys
Thank you,
meet.
sir.
And I want you all to be clear, we just need a solution. We're open,
Don't,
you know?
don't
If it's
make
not
us-
30 days, if it's 45, we just want to fix the problem.
Don't force us to have to dump the garbage in front of the house or out of the house immediately.
Okay,
They
We
haven't paid
just-
rent, they shouldn't be able to come back for their property.
okay, good. Any final questions? Pardon?
I said, we'd like to hear the solution before it is passed, you know, like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're not, this is what we've got if you do nothing. You know, and so it's to say that there's an urgency of now to do something, as the deputy city manager said, and it's going to be one of those options, or we're going to work together and we're going to fix it, and we're going to go forward to council together and say, we've met with the landlords, property owners, and we all agree, and here's what we're asking you to approve.
those people that do want to be on that committee, if you could stay afterwards so that we can coordinate a time and create that committee. Well, since we're all here today, right now, I think this would make it really easy to set up a time that we could all meet again and hash some of these things out. And so just make sure that you kind of stay afterwards if you want to be a part of that.
So any final questions? Oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Yes, let's go ahead and get the committee formed, because we've talked it to death.
That's right.
And everybody should have solutions. They need to know who to give their recommendations to.
Yeah.
So before we leave, let's get a committee formed. Let's be proactive. Let's get on with the program.
I like that. And any legal questions you have, I mean, Deputy City Manager Goodwin will be there, Mike Criddle, Darrell Short, someone will be there. They can take your question and take it to our legal counsel and get an answer and bring it back to you. Madam Lawyer, that's what we'll ask you to do.
I do wonder
And so
sometimes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do wonder sometimes, you know, the story of, you know, the girl that asked, you know, she cooks her ham and she cuts off the bone of the ham and puts it in the pan, and she asks her mom, why do we cook the ham that way? And she says, well, I don't know, that's the way Grandma always did it. And so she asked Grandma, and Grandma says, my pan wasn't big enough. The bone would hang over, and so that's what I did. So I'm wondering just how many times when it comes to some of the things that we do as property managers, that we do it just because we heard a couple other people say that this is the way it's supposed to be done, and we don't really know the source, but I'm hoping that we can, you know, with the help of you, Lucy, that we can find out the source, and we can really find out if some of the things that we've always been doing, we don't have to do it that way, and it could really help all of us solve this issue. So hopefully we can do, you know, you can be a part of that meeting that we have so that we know, we really do know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I saw Sheriff Greg Countryman here. Is he still here? I didn't know if he wanted to make any comments. Okay. Just check to see if he wants to make any comments. Or the sheriff? Yeah. Yeah, or his, who, yes, sir.
I just have one quick thing. I'm a homeowner, and I call Congress Lady Tucker all the time.
Yeah.
We have a big problem in our neighborhood, and they covered a lot of good stuff today. We have that trash problem also, and the problem we have is, our neighborhood is, in the front of it, you have duplexes there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the owners, they're renting those things out, and they are tearing them up.
Okay.
As you drive through the subdivision and you enter the part where the homes are, you don't see all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like the front of the subdivision. It's trash everywhere. And I mean, some of those places probably need to be condemned. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But I was here today just to get a feel on what, you know, some of the things we were talking about, and
Yeah.
I hear some good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And I really do, something really do need to be done in reference to that. I've been talking to, like I said, my council lady, Tucker.
Yeah.
I've been talking to her back and forth. I'm one of those guys that stay on the phone calling the city all the time.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it really is a problem.
Well, we
I just
appreciate
I just hope we can get something done.
We appreciate it. And I
Okay.
got a good feeling in here today that with Council Crabb involved, I think in working with them, with the owners, landlords, and property owners, I think we're going to get to a solution.
Yeah. And I'd say one other thing. One property we had, it was boarded up. It was a duplex. And so this was my first time calling Council Lady Tucker.
Uh-huh.
I called her. I told her the problem we was having. And so she had Cindy Stefani come out.
Mm-hmm.
And we did an interview in front of that place. And I think after that, I think it got with the mayor and probably you.
Uh-huh.
And in about 2 weeks, those homeowners, who owned that place,
Yeah.
they was out, they was repairing
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pressure do need to be put on.
All right. Well, good. We appreciate your comments. Any final comments? Because I know you all some of you want to meet afterwards. Any final comments? Let me thank you for coming. And I feel good that we are going to work together, and we're going to come up with a solution together that you can live with, that we can live with, and that the citizens will be pleased that we've taken some action to make their neighborhoods better. So thank you for coming, Deputy City Manager Goodwin. Thank you for coming. Yes, sir.
What about the committee?
Yeah,
Just
they're
stay
gonna
put.
stay.
If you want to be on the committee, just stay, and
Yeah.
we'll take care of that.
But thank you for coming, and we appreciate the fact that you are trying to provide a decent place for people to live.